You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Philip Griffiths.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tech for Tech Tech Talk. This is an IT podcast or show where we help your IT business grow. So we've got an interesting show on tonight, or should I say today, because we're live at 2 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. Right, today we have got two of the target MDs, or should I say past, present, future, maybe, something along that lines, here with us today, talking to us and telling us basically what's going on and introducing themselves. So let's go to Paul first. So, Paul, if you want to just introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are and what you do, or should I say what you did do, and go from there. And then we'll come back in a second to Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I'm Paul. I think probably most people probably already know me. I am the outgoing Managing Director of Target Components. So in answer to the what do I do, it's not very much and increasingly less as time goes on. So I think you probably want to get on to this guy who's the incoming Managing Director of Target.
Right, thank you, Paul. So, yeah, Michael, so if you want to just introduce yourself, let everyone know who you are then.
Yeah, hi, Phil. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Lawrence. I'm the incoming and proud new MD of Target. What do you know about me? I'm a family guy with a golf addiction. So if anyone wants a meeting with me, the simplest way to achieve it is to put up 18 holes somewhere decent. But the main thing, my background and career has largely been spent in distribution businesses. I am new to the IT industry, but in learning the Target business, very familiar with how our model works. I have a lot to learn, both internally and externally in the marketplace, but very excited to be at Target and very excited for what the future might be. And I think we'll talk a lot in the next hour about what some of those plans might look like.
Right, okay, that sounds pretty good. Right, let's just go on to the comments first. If anyone is watching, please make sure you comment so we know where you're from, who you are, and if actually we're talking to ourselves or if anyone is actually watching. So let me just get rid of that graphics at the top end corner of the screen so we can see the comments coming in. So we've got Mark Dennis saying hello or afternoon all from Rayleigh Computers. So... yeah, sorry about that. So if anyone else wants to comment, feel free. We'll give you a shout out as well. So, right, let's go on to some of the questions I have got come in. I think the first one is probably best is, to start with, is why are you going, Paul?
That's a good question. I think we did it's probably last summer, we did this show about the EOT. So obviously we covered a lot about the changes. They're still ongoing. We're about a week or two away from finalising the EOT. But we spent a long time thinking about the ownership structure of the company going forwards. And I'm not going to go over the reasons for that now unless anybody asks the question again, because we did it in that session. But in part of In part of those discussions, in part of that thinking, you're thinking about the long term. Now, that was partly myself and Ian, who's the other owner. It's in a kind of age where you become conscious you're not going to be around forever. You're not going to be as useful or as valuable forever. And it kind of came out of those conversations. The business is at a stage where we've got a fantastic platform for growth. We've got fantastic customers, great relationships with people, good staff internally, and some really, really interesting opportunities for the future. We'd had a good period of growth. We got stable and growing profits. So we're in a really good position. But then I've been here a long time. And I think you get to the point, it's not that you've got the stage where you've nothing left to offer, but you've got sort of diminishing returns, I think, as time goes on. So it came out of the thinking about the ownership structure of the business, and then what's the right management structure of the business going forwards. And I quite quickly sort of changed my opinion from this sort of crazy, the business depends on me and I'm crucial and all this sort of thing, to once you start analysing it, you think, and this is the crucial bit, if we can find the right person, it's a great time for somebody, a newer, younger, better version of me to come in, take over the business, and bring that drive, energy. I think one thing that the more we thought about it, the more it became apparent was we've been winging it for 20 years, really. None of us have had that sort of corporate background where we've seen a toolbox of how things work. There's pros and cons to that. Part of the innovation in the history of the company, some of the madcap things we've done, which people have loved and have benefited people, have come from that sort of blank canvas thinking, we don't know what best to do to support our customers, so let's sort of brainstorm it and come up with what we can. The downside is you don't have a toolbox of things you can just turn to. So we're at a size where I think I keep referring to it flippantly internally as a bit of growing up, putting a bit of structure, improving the processes. We want to improve every area of the business. And really, we got to the stage where I think fresh blood, fresh drive, fresh energy, fresh ideas, fresh pair of eyes. Like I say, a newer, younger, better version of me. So to bore out of that thinking, the two things are mutually exclusive, but it bore out of that thought process. Hope that answers the question. Phil, I might have waffled a bit there.
I think that answers it. Basically, you want in a bigger or newer toolbox with more ideas in it, in basics. But I'll take it as Michael's a new toolbox. Not saying that you're a tool or anything, Michael, but...
I think it was having the toolbox available to us. It was more about experience and learnings and so on. But there you go.
Right,
let's just... Not a great analogy.
There we go. I think we get you. So let's just quickly go through the chat. So we got Cormac saying hello from sunny Crosshaven Computers over in Ireland. We've got Clive saying hi all, Clive from Norfolk. And we've got Peter saying hi all from Peter Rob team, Scan Station Computers in sunny Bognor Regis. And we've also got hello from the great team at Gianti Computers. I think that's how you pronounce that one. So thank you. And we've got Andy as well from snowy Nottingham as well. Yeah, it's a bit snowy here as well. I think probably snowy in most places today. What were you going to say there, Paul? Sorry?
I just said afternoon, everybody.
Oh, right. Cheers. Right, let's go on to the next question then. So, Michael, tell us about yourself. What have you done in the past? Why do you think Paul has hired you?
Yeah, so my main career background has been in distribution businesses. That's across a range of sectors, across a range of functions in which I've worked. I'm an accountant by qualification, who's worked in marketing and worked in most recently leading sales teams and operational teams across a distribution hub and branch network. There was the first time I met Paul, there was a real synergy between what Paul was looking for and what I was looking for as well. So the brief when we met was someone from a corporate background that understands how to structure and scale larger businesses, but combined with someone who individually wanted to be part of a team in an SME business as we are, that could kind of wed the two together. Now, most of my career is in that kind of corporate environment and structure, but at this stage of my career, the biggest thing I wanted to do was to get hands on the tiller, if you like, and to actually run a business. And for all the kind of experience I have working in larger environments of multiple different ownership structures, the chance to be part of the leadership and the ownership team here at Target, there was a real synergy between what the two of us were both looking for. So I think we've met, and it's a bit of a marriage of convenience for us both. And one of the things that I'll say is, from the very first meeting that we had, I think Paul and I are different people with some different views on some things, but our fundamental ethos about how a business runs is very, very similar. I've said to the team in Target that at this stage of my tenure, I can make no promises about what the future may or may not bring, and there's things that we will undoubtedly change. But there are two things that I can guarantee will not change. One is that we will always be a people-focused organisation. I think that the decision that Paul and Ian have made to create Target as an employee-owned trust is the absolute ultimate proof of that. And the second thing that will not change, and if anything, I want to solidify and take a step further, if we can, is the Target has always been a customer-focused business. It's a business that takes long-term views and stances in order to do the best that it can for its customers. When Paul and I struck together in the conversations we had about that ethos, that's the point at which I knew that the Target business was for me. So I'm massively impressed with the business that we've inherited, or that I've inherited, and looking forward to kicking it on as Paul just described.
Just in terms of that, Phil, I think we had over 150 applicants for the role. We'd gone through a couple of phases of recruitment, and it was starting to feel we're looking for a needle in a haystack. And Michael came in the last interview of the last phase of recruitment, when I'd already decided to relaunch it and get another sort of short list of candidates, because, as I say, it was starting to feel like we're looking for a needle in a haystack. So I'd kind of decided all the reasons I was gonna get rid of this guy when he came in for an interview. We're about 5 minutes in the interview going, bloody hell, he's good, this guy. What's going on? And it's just one of them where the fit is, like I say, we were expecting to go back and sort of redo the brief, and we're thinking, how can we get people? We've not had anybody who sort of aligns, who's got the right kind of background, but the right kind of, want somebody with an entrepreneurial attitude, very people focused, very sort of insightful, reads people well, all this sort of stuff. And I think really I was feeling that match there probably 5 minutes into the first interview, and everything from that point on. Michael's in his third week here. He's virtually thrown me out now. I don't think I'll last much longer, but third week here, and just every bit of it is just brings home how, I think on both sides, how lucky we are, because we've got that needle in the haystack, somebody who perfectly fits our ethos and shares our DNA in a sense, and also for what Michael's looking for in a career. This is effectively Michael's career from here on in, his Target, and yeah, just a really, really good fit.
Okay, that's pretty good. And that also answered the next question. Why did you pick Michael for this job? So there we go. It saves me asking the question. So let's just say hi to David in the chat from Medway Computers. And obviously you've got my boss as well, also known as the Mrs. From TFT Boss Lady. So there we go. So, right. So next question is... well, it's actually for you again, Paul. There's rumours going around that you may be opening a bar up and that you'll be getting Sonia to run the karaoke, basically. Is this true, or have you got other plans?
I think as soon as you mention Sonia doing karaoke, you know that's made up, don't you? If Sonia had her way, we would be opening a bar up, but it would be in the back garden. No, there's no plans for that at the moment, and certainly not for the karaoke. Although she could do a touring karaoke, and I could hire her out if anybody wanted to pay money. In fact, I'd pay you money to get rid of her for a while.
Sounds like a good marriage you've got there, Paul. Right. So, So if that's not the case, then what other plans do you have in your, shall we call it, retirement?
Short term, not a great deal. We both want to get a bit fitter, do more exercise. I've not done much exercise for years, really. So we've got some general things like that. We started getting the bikes out recently, so we want to get into that. But generally, I think the short term stuff is just have a kind of pretty lazy summer, enjoy it. We've tried to be sort of flexible on when we've taken time off over the last few summers to try and catch the weather, and failed miserably half the time. So yeah, I think pretty much a lazy summer. And then we'll probably go to France back end of the year, and kind of the intention is we'll book a week somewhere in France and then put a point in a map and go there for another week and just do what we want for as long as we want. And that's kind of feels like freedom to me. So beyond that, not a great deal, Phil. I'm kind of looking forward to, even when the point in time comes of thinking, God, I'm a bit bored now. What do I need to do? Because I've kind of never been there. So no firm plans apart from feet up, relax, enjoy the summer, and a bit of exercise to go with it.
No, sounds pretty good. So you're not going to turn into one of these old bosses, what left the company, what comes back every 6 months just to say hi and get on everyone's nerves?
We'll be around sort of every month because we're still non-exec directors, so we'll be involved in board meetings. But no, I think I'll be the perfect ex-boss that doesn't sort of get under Michael's feet, but is there for support and advice and bounce ideas off.
Right, that sounds pretty good, that does. Right, so Michael, next question is, what do you plan on changing at Target, if anything?
I need to get Paul out first.
Me is the quick answer.
And his chair's gonna go with him. I feel as though I've joined a business that's in good health. I think it's fair to say it's a business that's been growing in recent years and Paul mentioned it, has a solid platform for growth. So there's no burning platform here that says I have to come in and make immediate change. I'm fairly impatient individually. I'm week 3. This is week 3, and I'm already planning things that we might want to improve and look after. I have to learn the Target business and how it works. I have to learn the marketplace and the environment in which we work. And the only way I'll do that is by gaining relationships with our vendor partners, with our customers, and also learning from some of our competitors. I see a competitive landscape. I think there's some great companies out there. I'm respectful of that. We'll learn from that, and we'll use that to help evolve the Target model. I have a board in my office, which Paul keeps staring at as it grows and grows and grows. And on there are a whole host of things that I need to learn, questions I have, areas of growth and development that I think we could expand out into. And I'm in the process over the next couple of months of fleshing that out into a Target strategy that will ultimately propel us forward. What's exciting for me is it's not a one-year strategy that says where do we want to be at the end of this year. The decision that Paul and Ian have made to restructure the business as an EOT sets us up with a platform for where we want to be in 10 plus years time. And that we want to grow. I think we're fundamentally, that's the statement of intent that we have. For us, it's about how we achieve that. So I leave every day with 5 more questions than I started with. Hopefully in time I start to answer some of those questions, that levels out. We have the Target open day event in May, which is the prime opportunity for me to meet some of our customers and really get to understand why Target's the distributor of choice for some of those customers. But at the minute, I'm very much in the learn state. I'm incredibly excited. Paul mentioned about energy. I'm a nightmare to live with at the minute because I'm living and breathing everything Target. So. But no immediate plans for change. I think our customers can expect consistency. They can expect that customer service ethos to continue. I think one of the things that Paul and Ian wanted was consistency in terms of and culture and how we go to market. And I certainly initially think that's something that I'll provide.
Right, that sounds pretty good. One of the first things I think you need to do is tell your customer service department not to call me while I'm on a live show. They're trying to call me at the moment, so but yeah. Anyway, let's go on to chat. So we got Richard saying afternoon all. We've got Clive saying Target has always been legendary for its support for all struggling independents. So will the company's mission remain the same going forward?
I think that touches on what Michael's just been saying, Clive, that when I went back to the needle in a haystack recruitment process, it's because we had so much that we wanted from our view of the perfect candidate. And key amongst that was having to share that DNA, having that same ethos. Wait a moment, I'll mentioned this before to people in the past, but I think 2004, when there was a change in the market and things seemed to suddenly get tougher for indies. The big brands were competing for price and so on, and that's when we really, the penny dropped for us that our success depends on your success. If you guys are all struggling, we're goosed. We need you guys to do well, and that shaped our DNA pretty much ever since. We initially, with some of the marketing support, we used to do reseller product brochure, TC3, net, all these things that you remember from years and years ago, shop talk and so on, and then all the way through to improving the way we do things. So no, that element of it was key in somebody coming in, and I think that was reflected in Michael's personal statement before he'd even come through the door. It certainly came out in the interview process, and absolutely aligned with our view on customer first. And so, no, in terms of that, Clive, the mission remains the same. What we want to do is do everything better. And I'll give you a good example of that, really, that we've always been, or it's always been a bugbear of mine, that feedback is hugely important. And we try our best to encourage feedback, to collate feedback, to assess, to act on it, and so on and so forth. And it's at times in the past that's been brilliant for us. I mean, we started doing laptop screens sort of 15 years ago, basically on feedback from a customer. And we went, that's a great idea. It was very good for us and very good for our customers. But we're kind of at the point where we need to develop further. We need fresh ideas on how do we do that? How do we improve the systems? How do we improve? We've got things like the target Facebook group, the user group, which is great. But how do we return that more? And I think that every business probably loses 90% of the useful feedback because it happens in conversations. It's not recorded anywhere. So when I talk about growing up, that's a good example of these are things that make us better, that help to make us more successful because they help us to deliver more of what our customers want, but also make the world a better place for you guys. And that's the stage we're at when I talk about getting the fresh ideas, fresh perspective, and that element of growing up. So some of it, if we talked in detail, we might talk about developing the processes and the systems, and it all sounds very dull and very, but in reality, it's about delivering more for our customers, and that's the key thing. The first line of our vision is to be the distributor of choice, and you do that by giving people what they're looking for.
That's it. That's pretty good there. And also you give some tools and features what other distributors don't like, obviously the PC builder and stuff like that, which obviously gets people keep coming back. So, right, let's go on to Andy. So Andy says on LinkedIn, he says, are there any plans to increase your range of products from other brands, maybe bring in brands that are not as prominent in the UK?
Yeah, I'll take this one. It's well, this will be down to Michael in future, obviously, but yeah, range development's an ongoing goal. Again, be the distributor of choice, giving people what they want. A big part of what you're offering is the range of products you're offering. That's obviously the brands, the ranges within the brands, the pricing and the availability are the key things. And again, as we develop, as we go through this sort of growing up stage, we've got this platform now. All of those you'll see improvements in. Just to give a little bit of background to where we're at in terms of range development at the moment, we had a fairly prolific period where I think we were adding a new brand pretty much every month for about 18 months. And you tend to get a slight sort of pendulum effect, or we tend to anyway, where you acquire a lot of new brands and then you've got to consolidate. You've got to deliver for those brands. You've got to bed that in with your customers and make sure you're delivering the numbers. So we've been a little bit quieter now on that front. Probably in terms of big brand launch announcements, we've been certainly quieter than we were over probably the last year or so. But I think we're at that stage again where we're ready for the next sort of wave of brand development. And of course, on top of that, one thing we do, which is not unique to us, but a little bit different, is a lot of the own brand products. And again, that's been slightly, we're still evolving. So the Pixel range, for example, we've seen the development of that over the last couple of years. But in terms of the pace of development of own brand ranges, COVID sort of not completely postponed that, but it's been a blockage to that because we can't get over and see the factories and go to the shows and this sort of thing. So yeah, I think one of the areas obviously Michael will be keen to look at is how we accelerate the range development and how we measure the attractiveness of our range and keep constantly improving it, and hopefully get to the point where we don't have this sort of pendulum effect of adding loads of new brands and then trying to bed them in and then adding loads of new brands and bedding them in, and we get that more consistent evolution in the future. But yes, there's always plans to enhance and improve the product range.
Just to add to that, I think one of the things that's really important is that when we add a brand, we've got to support that brand in the right way. The distributor offers value to the vendor partner and the brand in the same way that we offer value through to the customer. So when we add a brand, it's got to be because it's the right thing for Target to do, which will generally mean it's because it's for the right thing for our customer to do. One of the things that Martin, who leads our procurement function, and I have already talked a lot about is how do we position the brands that Target offer and ensure that we can support those brands in the right way. I think we've got the opportunity to, and it goes a little bit to Andy's question, I think we've got the opportunity to potentially bring some new brands to the table and be pioneers to support that brand through its development in the same way that there are some existing brands that I think we'd like to work more closely with too. But it's always a decision made with the customer in mind.
Okay, some pretty good answers there. So next we've got a question what came in on the Facebook group, basically saying, will they be enhancing their will you be enhancing your laptop parts stock, for example, screen size, as in there's only certain ones available and so forth, to keyboards, palm rests and etc. Would lovely if they did this, then you wouldn't need to order from eBay or China.
I'm just thinking you've probably got the two worst people in the company to ask that question to, because Michael's in his third week and I'm in this sort of stepping back phase. I think we've expanded we've had an order in recently on the laptop screen, so we've certainly got more laptop screens in. Goes back a little bit to, I know it's a generic answer, but to what we were just talking about in terms of how we measure and evaluate the range going forwards. Laptop parts, I think we've had things like keyboards in the past. I think we've got things like palm rests and so on. But as a general point, and again going back to the feedback I was talking about, and the fact that we are probably the two worst people to answer that question, go on the Target user group, put that question on the Target user group, and you'll get Sonia or Scott or Martin or one of the buyers or somebody who can give a much better answer than us. Will answer that question directly. That's a great way to get feedback on stuff like that. But yeah, we kind of go back to, we're constantly looking. Just one last thing on the screens. Our screen stock has been impacted by sort of world events over the last year or two. Prices went absolutely crazy. So when you get to that situation, you've always got a decision. You've got competing forces of keeping your range and your availability versus the price is just crazy, and we can't expect people to be paying those kind of prices for the products. It's now got a bit more sensible, and we hopefully getting back to a little bit more like normal certainly on the laptop screen range.
I'm sure that everybody that's dialed in is already signed up to receive our marketing communications, but from monitoring this week, I do believe I'm right in saying that there are 14-inch laptop screens promoted this week, and also Genius palm rests as well. So I think that we've communicated out this week even that some offers and deals on those stocks as well.
Okay, sounds pretty good. But yeah, do what obviously Paul says is probably a good idea. If you're after specific things about stock, is contact them on their Facebook page, on the user things, a bit like the Tech for Techs page, but for target only. And obviously you'll get them answering. So that's definitely a good thing to do. Right, next question. Sort of answered already, but Paul, does this mean you're totally gone, or will you still have influence and be able to, for example, come back and tell Michael off if he's not doing his job right?
Well, myself and Ian will both be non-exec directors. So, yes, in a sense, because the two of us and Michael will be the board of target components. But in terms of sort of coming in, getting under Michael's feet day to day, no, I don't envisage that. I don't think. I'm kind of here at Michael's discretion at the moment, because I said when we get to the point, there's a handover period at the moment, but when we get to the point where I'm just mithering him and I'm a blockage, I'm wasting his time, then he'll tell me and I'll just spend more time at home. So no, I think my initial view on this whole transition thing was we'd get a new managing director and I would be around pretty much day to day for 6 months or so, pretty much kind of full time for 6 months or so. And part of that was the sort of support, the handover, this sort of thing, but primarily this evaluation period, if you like, make sure we've got the right person. And we're 3 weeks in and I have no concerns whatsoever on that front. So, no, I'll not be getting under people's feet, but I've no doubt there won't be any disasters, but we'll still be around if there are any disasters.
It is. I mean, we've talked about the construct of our board and the board meetings going forward. Obviously, there's a formal element of things that we need to do, but that relationship. I mean, one of the things that Paul's tenure here has been, he's such a figurehead of the business. I think that it's important that we retain that, and we've talked about how we'll continue to work together going forward. We've struck up a great relationship early on. It'll look different when we turn the cameras off and go back to arguing with each other. But no, it's a relationship that I will value, not just through this handover period, but the only issue I have is I think what your next question might be actually about the dogs.
Well, it depends on which one you want me to read first.
This is the one flaw in the recruitment process. We didn't realise until Michael actually started that he's not comfortable with dogs. So up until Michael coming in, the dogs used to come in my office, and we've had to use other offices. So they've been in Steve Warehouse, my ops manager's office, when they've been in Target. But no, the dogs will not remain in the business. They are, in fact, they're currently at the mother-in-law's.
If people are not sure what we're on about here about dogs and customer service, we're not calling the customer service team dogs or anything like that. It's actually Paul and Sonia's dogs usually hang around the office. So just in case anyone was tuning in and didn't understand. Right, okay, so we've got Dean Wood also saying, welcome, Michael, from also at Smart Computers. As long as Target continues to support us Indies, they have us, as they have in the past, we'll be very happy. Sorry to see you go as well, Paul.
Thank you, Dean. Sure, we'll see you in May.
That's it. So, have you guys got any tickets left for your open day, or is it all sold out?
It's sold out in about 2.5 weeks. So, we'd initially sort of capped it at 150, and then the venue sort of said there was a bit of leeway, so we just kept adding numbers, and then we had to pull the plug at 200. Yeah. So we've got 200. There'll be a process in, we're almost in April, aren't we? So probably from the middle of this month, I think Sonia's going to start phoning everybody who's registered just to make sure they're coming, because we've got a big short list of people who didn't make the cut but want to come. So obviously, if anybody can't make it for any reason, drops out, we go back to whoever's top on the short list. So yeah, it should be a good day.
That sounds pretty good. Right, this one's for you, Michael. Have you changed anything at Target already, rather than just kicking Paul out of the office?
Probably the only thing that we've actually changed is we're going to be coming back to the office to work. So we've introduced a hybrid working model. When I go back 2 weeks ago, the team was still primarily working from home. So we've brought as of Monday, which is our new financial year, a bit of a fresh start sort of all around. So we're bringing the team back into the office. We'll be doing 3 days a week across the week, different people with different sort of flexible working arrangements. But I'm really excited about that because I think it'll be great to have all the different teams working together. We can be much more agile in terms of how we respond back to any issues of customers or our partners. So that's probably that's definitely one thing that we've changed. But otherwise, it's very much about learning for me, and the business is in a good position, and therefore it affords me the luxury, if you like, of a little bit of time to figure things out. And when we make the decisions about where we're going to invest, it's important that we pursue those wholeheartedly. So we're going to take a little bit of time for me to learn the business and then the wider market. And then we've got our first board meeting at the end of April, and we'll start as early as that to get stuck into some of the plans, and then we'll move on from there. But one of the biggest things that I'm focused on is consistency. If you've got a product and a brand that's well established with a great reputation, I don't need to come in and put early markers down. I don't need to do anything crazy to impress Paul or Ian. I think there's a level of trust there in terms of how we're going to work together. So so that's about my only one so far. I think I've changed.
I think you've won me over already. As soon as you said consistency, that got me, because that's one of the first things I tell anyone when we're telling them to do anything in the stores or anything like that. And as the missus has just said in the chat, the boss, consistency is key. So there you go. She's taken my line already there. But yeah, so consistency, yeah, you won me over with that one. Right, okay. So if anyone else in chat other than the boss wants to ask any questions, feel free to ask them. Michael's here, Paul's here. If you want to know what Sonia's going to be doing with her spare time, or you want to know what Michael does when he's not at work, well, feel free to send the questions in and we'll get them asked. Nothing too rude though, guys, okay? I know what some of you are like. Right, okay, so next we've got, what do you expect from your employees, Michael?
Oh, that's a great question. We did a company update which we do every month I think it was the second morning after I just started, and the team asked the same kind of question. What's most important for us is how we serve our customers. The key to serving our customers isn't actually me, and it's not Paul, it's the team and how the team respond to that. Now, they will clearly work under the direction that we set and the culture that we create. But my strong belief is that if we look after the people within Target correctly, they will look after our customers correctly, and we will mandate, if you like, the ways in which we expect those behaviours to be. So if there was one thing I would say to my team is I have no issues with people making mistakes. I think that's how you learn. The clever people only tend to make the mistakes once, and then they learn the lesson quickly and move on. But within that, I want the team to try things. I want them to explore different avenues and things that grow our business and make us more relevant. But I want us to be just honest with it. I think I value integrity and reputation probably more than anything. And I think that if we're true to ourselves and everyone's honest and about how we work, that's probably the main thing. Anybody that falls foul of that, for me, unfortunately, we will have an issue. But what I will say is, when you go through an interview process, you hear about a business, you hear about its people internally, its customers and how it sells and what it looks like. And then you join and start to pull the cover and you think, oh, this isn't maybe quite what I expected. But what I will say is that the team at Target, I'm incredibly impressed by. I think we've got the nucleus of a core squad of people that can grow the business. Our customer base we've got a lot of customers, a lot of loyal customers, and that's kind of great as well. So I'd say fair play to Paul that what he said I would join is the reality, actually. So probably why after 2 to 3 weeks we're still getting on harmoniously.
Even after I found out he was a Middlesbrough fan.
Oh dear.
And he mocked me about my team as well.
I don't know. Could be worse, I suppose. But
Could be worse, yeah.
There we go. Right, okay. So next question is, what do you do on a typical day? get a bit more personal here, Michael. So what do you do on a typical day at work? So do you just come put your feet up and let everyone just tell you what to do, or do you just say yes, no, or what do you actually do?
Paul's taught me well, so it's a harmonious cycle of coffee and chit chat and banter. I don't know what a typical day is yet. For me, at the minute, a typical day is I'm spending as much time as I can with the people. From the environment I was in, we were working from home, so my team was largely remote. So I used to spend all day in meetings and on the phone. There is a sort of a cultural kind of change for me, which is moving from a large organisation previously to Target. I had sort of 300 to 400 people working for me. Here it's the 60 or so people that are at Target. We're all here in kind of one office. I'm excited for that, the chance to spend time with the team. So at the minute, I'm engrossed in the team as much as I can. I've spent time in our warehouse. I've spent time listening to sales calls. I've been in meetings with the procurement team, just engrossing myself in the business. I think as we move into more of a normal kind of phase of working, I do see myself as being sort of the driver of the trading nature of our business. I want to be customer facing, so I want to get out there and actually experience what Target's doing. Internally, there's a drive for efficiencies, which we've touched upon in the conversation. I do believe we have opportunities to run our business more effectively and make better use of the sort of resources that we have. And I guess fundamentally, it's my job to pull together the growth strategy that we've talked about, and then to hold the business to account to achieve that. That's what I expect Paul and Ian to do to me, and that's what I'll be doing to the team as well. But as I've said to the team, we'll work together in the right way. I think they'll find me pretty good and pretty fun to work for, and I look forward to working with them as well.
Okay, that's a pretty good answer there. So let's have a look. So if anyone else does have any actual questions, feel free to send them over. I don't think they're going to sack Craig, Richard, just because he supports Leeds, but otherwise he says he's never had any issues with any of the team at Target. So you seem to have a great team. So I'm guessing that's down to Paul, or at least partly anyway.
To be fair, Phil, I'm not a Leeds fan, I'm a Bolton fan, but Leeds is the local team here, so that's perfectly justifiable to have staff supporting Leeds where we are based. For right. Richard. What's Richard? Richard's a Watford fan, isn't he? Is he? Just answer on the sure. You're a Watford fan, Richard, I think you are.
I'm not sure if he is or not, but no doubt he'll comment in a second. Craig Moore is saying, what power of one would you have coming into the job? If you understand that one. Apparently it's a concept if we read his next comment down, meaning which one actively can you influence or change that will have the most cascading impact down the line?
I think, to be fair, at this stage, this goes back to what Michael said. The early stages, the sensible approach is you absorb and you learn, and you learn what we're good at, what we could be better at, and we'll probably be anybody coming into the role. You're really going to be a month, 2 months down the line before you start to firm up the priorities of what are the things you can influence the most, the quickest. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect anybody coming into a business. In fact, I can remember my dad telling me years ago, I was doing some senior recruitment, and we were talking about some of the interview processes he'd been in the past. And he said, you always get this question about what would you do if you worked here? And anybody who gives you a definitive answer on that is a clown, because the honest answer at a senior level is I don't know until I get in and I observe and I find out what we've got and what we need, what we're good at, what we're not good at, and then sort my priorities from there. So I think, in fairness, that's an impossible question to answer at this stage in the business.
The only thing, I think you're right from an external perspective. I think the only thing we have done, and it goes back to that first meeting, is the setting of expectations on behaviours. We did touch on the last question. What do I expect of employees? We were less than 24 hours into my tenure when I said, look, this is what I expect with regards to honesty and integrity and kind of how we work. That actually mirrors what already exists at Target. One of the things that I definitely don't have to worry about spending time on is kind of, we've got a poisonous culture, we've got poor people, we've got issues with behaviours. That's fundamentally not the case, and therefore not having to worry about that is a real strength. But I think that kind of early set at this stage, that kind of early setting of expectations, behaviours, and how we work is probably the key, and probably pushing on that message of kind of consistency. The team here are expecting us to change, but actually what they're expecting after our early conversations is an evolution in terms of how we work, seeing some new strategies develop and evolve. But you're not going to suddenly find that we're going to be branching out into adjacent sectors. We've got no plans to fundamentally change the customer base and how we go to market. We haven't got huge, big sort of change in structure, brands or announcements to follow. So I think that coming back to kind of consistency and setting of behaviours, that would be my kind of initial sort of line in the sand on that.
Okay, sounds pretty good. So hopefully that answered your question, Craig. So and Richard's saying yes as well. So I think that was yes to the Watford. So well, I suppose someone has to support them. Right. Next up, we've got okay. Who's taken over Sonia's position? Has she been forced out due to a singing, or was it something else?
No, Sonia's obviously can't bear the thought of me putting my feet up in the garden over the summer and her having to work. So Sonia's going at the same time as me. In terms of who takes over Sonia's role has sort of changed quite significantly over the last few years. Obviously, we moved her into the customer relations manager role, and then she started some account management. That's all been passed on, and she's mainly done sort of project work over the last probably 6 to 9 months, something like that. So there's a series of projects that will be handed over. Some of them have a home, some of them are still to be determined, but it's impossible to take a like-for-like replacement of Sonia on in the business. So there's a handover period. The sort of target leaving date is the end of May, so there's about 8 weeks, something like that, and there'll be a process of getting Michael up to speed on the projects that Sonia's been working on, to the extent that some Michael may take over, some just need the donkey work's done and they just need managing through, and some it'll be a case of deciding where they best sit within the business. But it's not a case of going out and getting a like-for-like replacement. Of course, the team's evolving all the time, though. We probably had 4 or 5 new starters, including Michael, in the last couple of months. So it's not a static, we have X number of people and they remain the same forever, and Sonia goes and there's a big gap. Obviously, the office will be much quieter without her, and the danger of walking in on Sonia mid-song has been removed, which improves our record from a health and safety point of view, and that sort of stuff has all improved. But otherwise, yeah, no plans to directly replace.
Right, that sounds a pretty good answer. I've got another one related to that. Is it true to honour Sonia that you're changing your hold music on your phone system to her singing?
We would never have any phone calls, would we? We would never have any phone calls.
I can't believe I'm the only one that's still not brave enough to mock Sonia for singing.
I'll send you a link. I've got a recording of her from one of the past Target shows. I'll send you that later.
I'm smart. I'm going to stick up for Sonia in this. Sonia, I'm on your side. You sing out loud.
You've never heard her singing.
I know, but I don't want to press loud.
That can only ever be said back, Phil, by somebody who'd never heard Sonia singing.
That's it. I'm going to say I can't think of anyone else would have said that, to be honest here. But we have got a video of you as well, Paul, dancing on stage, if I remember right.
I wasn't dancing. I was forced to stand on the dance floor. That's my excuse.
Yeah, and do a few stretches.
I don't do that.
So yeah, I think the video says slightly different, but anyway.
I don't do dancing, to be fair, Phil.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Right, let's have a look. What other questions we've got on here? So let's have a look. What do you do when you're not in the office, Michael?
Yeah, I said this at the start. So Paul and I probably have only found that we're not in sync on a couple of things. Dogs is one of them. Middlesbrough, and golf is the third one. So I'm a one of those poor golf addicts who dreams about golf, swings imaginary golf clubs by the water cooler, and that's where you'll most likely find me. A Middlesbrough fan for my sins, very big into health and fitness. I've got a young family. Parents' evening tonight, actually, which is usually okay. So no, I'm very simple. Been with my wife for 15 years. 2 young girls who are everything to me. Career is important. Love playing golf. Keep fit and healthy. And as long as I can do that, I'm pretty easy.
Right, sounds like a pretty good answer. So it looks like you've got a new customer from Richard here. He says, I know where to come for our IT products from now on. So it looks like he's liking your answers. So it doesn't look like you're scaring anyone off at the moment. So you're doing a good job from there.
Richard also runs a very effective printing business. Should anybody have any needs in that area, we could certainly cross-sell. Richard's a great guy.
Well, there you go then. Right. Next one is for you, Paul. What do you think about Brexit?
We've not had a Brexit question since the last time I was doing a Q&A. Who sent this one, Phil?
It was the boss, apparently. It was Jenny.
Pretty much the same as I've thought about Brexit for most of the way through. It is what it is, but it's done, and we get on with it. We still have carriers like DPD struggling to get pallets into, all carriers struggling to get pallets into Republic of Ireland. There's a lot of fuss in Northern Ireland at the moment about the whole thing. So yeah, it's messy, and we've still not got to the end of sorting it all out yet. It's a real shame that the one thing that got people energised politically was Brexit, because it's kind of not the thing that should have become tribal. There are far more important things that people could have pinned the colours to for me. But it is what it is. It's done. We kind of make the best of it from here on in. But yeah, thanks, Jenny. But yeah, I'm sure we're doing a Q&A at the event in May, and I'm sure there'll be Brexit questions at that as well. The usual,
more than likely, the usual ones.
I mean, the irony of all this is that so much has happened post Brexit that it seems like the sort of minor thing now. Really, you look back at it. We've had COVID. COVID's a much bigger thing than Brexit. We got war in Ukraine at the moment, cost of living crisis, all this sort of stuff. And Brexit just seems like, a fairly minor thing that we all got very wound up about and wasted a lot of time and effort for a long time on. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, considered all sides of the argument, I would still lean towards, I would have preferred the vote to go the other way, but it is what it is. It's done, and we kind of move on, make the best of it. But interesting times generally in terms of the sort of global events at the moment, and that's, I'd say, it's made Brexit sort of pale into insignificance in a sense.
Yeah, good answer there, and I'm pretty sure you'll be answering more questions about Brexit, as you said. So,
I have absolutely no doubt, Phil. It's become a tradition.
So, regarding the Targets Open Day, or whatever you're calling it, in a couple of months, who's going to be doing the questions at the end of the day then, the Q&A? Is it going to be Michael, or is it going to be Paul, or is it going to be both of you?
Both of us. Both of us.
Both of you.
I mean, the event is, and the timing of the events and everything, we're doing the event because we can, basically. We couldn't for COVID, or we couldn't confidently plan anything during COVID with lockdowns and restrictions and all this sort of thing. We're in the same boat as you with your event, Phil, that we're pretty confident that the direction of travel is going to be okay for the summer at least. So partly because we haven't done one since 2019, but of course this is very much a sort of last hurrah for me and Sonia, because I don't think we should be sort of attending events in the future. I think we might be getting in the way a little bit, or I don't know. Certainly not we might do a few years down the line, who knows? But I think it's probably the wrong thing to do once we've gone, or immediately once we've gone. So it's a chance for us to say goodbye, farewell, see you soon to lots of customers, and also a big part of that is let people see Michael. That because you get all, we've seen the questions today. You know, there's that fear of change, and what you'll typically get from customers who have great relationships with customers, and you get customers saying, "But we like dealing with Target, and now things are going to change, and I'm worried about what that change is going to look like." And really, you meet this guy and have an natter with this guy, and you think he's just, like I say, newer, younger, better version of me, and the principles are the same, and all you'll see in terms of Target is improvement. We won't lose the ethos. It's in the DNA of the business. There was a comment earlier about, I think it might have been Clive said, I've always liked.
I've written it down.
Yeah, but well, if I could read your writing. Dealing with any of our staff, it's always all our staff are great. You've got a great team, and it's in the DNA of the business, and that's not going to change. But really, this event for us is a great opportunity for us on a personal level, for me and Sonia, to spend time with people that we've got to know really well and like over the years, and to say, "Oh, this is a new guy. There's nothing to be scared of. Things are just going to get better. You know, nothing's going to get worse." So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. First time seeing lots of people in 3D for 3 years. So really looking forward to it.
That's good. I'm going to say, I know I'm looking forward to seeing people. We're going to say we'll be there as well at the Target Day as well. Obviously, our own. Well, it'd be a bit strange if we weren't our own day. What you could do in the future, though, you could always have a cardboard cutout of Paul and Sonia and stick them up by the bar or something like that in future events or something. Just sort of no.
I'm not sure that would benefit anybody.
I can see Michael's face there is going, nah, I don't like that one.
It was telling for me that you suggested it be by the bar, not by the exhibition stands or on the stage.
I don't know. Right, let's get to the end then. So we've got one more question, and then we'll just do closing comments. So we've got, let's have a look if I can see where it was now. So, okay, can you tell us if any pressure will be applied to manufacturers regarding decent point of sales material in the future? Ongoing, I know, just wondering if that's on Michael's radar. I must admit we get the same issue as well with point of sales material. The only things we ever get are generally pens, which I'm not sure how a pen's supposed to help sell things, but we get lots of them.
Yeah, this is always on our radar. I think, again, we've had this kind of weird period over the last couple of years. A lot of manufacturers sort of pulled back a little bit from point of sale, so it was like pulling teeth at one point trying to get point of sale out. And then, of course, we had COVID and lockdown, and the cost of getting things over, the transport cost of getting things over from the Far East has gone through the roof. So yeah, I think there's an acceptable, from a manufacturer's point of view, I think we have to give them a little bit of grace that not all manufacturers have been brilliant at providing POS over the last couple of years. But yeah, it's very much on our list because we get asked all the time by customers. So yeah, the more we can do and the better we can be at distributing that and getting it from the manufacturers, yes. But so that little bit of sympathy there with COVID and just the sheer cost of getting things over, you know, container prices shot up to what, 6, 7, 8 times what they should be. Air freight shot up. So it's kind of understandable that they've not been that keen on producing and sending point of sale, but it's very much on our list. Yeah.
Just to quickly add for Day, I used to the environment I've just come from. We had 28 branch outlets throughout the UK and Ireland, and as well as the kind of main office hub. And one of the strategies that we implemented was to make those trade counters feel a little bit more like a retail space environment. A big push on that for us was getting manufacturers involved in offering decent POS where we can supplement that ourselves. So it is actually a conversation I had with the buying team earlier this week. So definitely on the radar, and even more so now that it's obviously aware that it's an important customer issue as well. So yes, just to add from my perspective, it is.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I know point of sales has always been an issue at our end. Going back years, it used to be the days they used to chuck it at you, and nowadays you're basically begging for it or even printing it yourself, especially when you get a new product no one's ever heard of, trying to promote something what no one's ever heard of. It's not very easy. I must admit there's some good companies out there. Bulgod or Norton, as you call them now, they are good with a point of sale. Some of you probably seen the post from earlier on the Tech for Tech group from D-Tech Steve, and he's got loads of Norton point of sales material. They pretty much give it you, and I wish all suppliers were pretty much the same as that. Right, so I think that's pretty much it for the questions for today. So let's put some leaving thoughts on there. So, Paul, is there anything you would like to say as your potentially last tech talk, basically, show? Potentially, shall we say?
I think it's probably a safe bet it is my last one, because I'll be sort of kicked out the door in the next few weeks, I think. No, just appreciate everybody getting involved with the show today. I will see a lot of people in May, and have the sort of conversations then that might be a sort of a farewell type conversation. I'm sure we'll keep in touch with lots of people anyway, beyond our day-to-day involvement at Target. But no, it's been, for anybody who I don't have any interaction with other than seeing this today, I've had a great time at Target. It's a brilliant job. It's a brilliant business. We've got a brilliant team of people, and we've got brilliant customers. And I've met so many fantastic people over the years. So if there's anybody watching this or interacting with this, and this is the last time we ever see each other, thank you. It's been brilliant. And I hope we continue to bump into people and meet people. And we tend to drive down to France, so there's a few of our customers in the southern end of England will be getting us popping in because we need a stopover on the way down. So you won't completely get rid of me yet.
Just look for the local pub. You'll be all right. You'll be there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Right, over to Michael then. Michael, what's your final thoughts for the show?
Yeah, I would say thanks to you, Phil, for having us today. I think this is a big change for Target. We're moving into a sort of a new era, not just because I'm here, but because we've got the employee-owned business as well. All I would say is thank you to Paul for the opportunity he's given me and for the way in which we've been working together. For all the jokes, he is letting me do my thing even at this early stage. And I think on behalf of everyone at Target, I think what Paul and Sonia have brought to the business, they deserve nothing but the ultimate credit for. I'm privileged to be joining the business in this role, to have this opportunity. So I'll close out by just thanking Paul as well for the opportunity, and I've got a great sense of responsibility to make his decision the right one, really.
There we go. So that's pretty good. So, right, guys, it's basically the end of the show. I'm just going to say thank you to Paul, because without Paul, I don't think my independent business would have grown as well as it did from his I was going to say tech talk. It's shop talk programs and other help his team have given us over the years as well. So I'd just like to say thank you, Paul. And you can see from the chat, there's a few other people saying thank you as well. And no doubt you'll get quite a few more after the show as well. And I look forward to working with you as well, Michael. I hope Sonia's not in tears too much tonight, or currently if she's watching the show, because I've had a few words with her on, I think, Facebook or whatever, and she's pretty much crying every time I speak to her, I think. But going forward, I wish you both best of luck, and I'm pretty sure we'll bump into each other many times, even if it's a cardboard cutout next to the bar. Right, guys. That's no problem. Right, guys, if you are interested in watching another show, we've got another one coming up next Thursday at the usual time, 8 p.m. We have actually got Microsoft on the show. So we've got Microsoft along with VIP computers on the show, and that's next Thursday at 8 p.m. Usual time, usual place. You know the drill. So we'll be on next Thursday. If you are interested in joining Tech for Techs, you can join Tech for Techs by going to techfortechs.co.uk/join. I'll stick it on the screen so you can see it. If you just click on that link, you can basically, well, you can't click on it, but you type it in your browser and go to the page and click join and fill in the questions. And obviously, if we approve you, you'll be let into the Tech for Tech Facebook group with over 1,300 members. Just like you, we've got vendors, distributors, MSPs, independent techs, all the way from guys earning a few £1,000 a year, all the way up to guys earning a hell of a lot more. So if you're interested in joining, make sure you go there, fill the questions in. If you don't fill the questions in, we will not let you in. Simple as that. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next week, Thursday, 8 p.m, and with Microsoft and VIP. Again, thank you, Paul, and thank you, Michael. If you guys just stay on just for a few seconds just after the show, and all be done. So again, thank you, everyone. I was going to say good night, but good evening, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.